I was reading the news the other day and something caught my attention. Something big. Trump just announced he wants to increase the military budget to $1. $5 trillion by 2027. That's not a typo. $1. $5 trillion. And while most people are arguing about whether that's too much or whether we need it, I'm looking at something else entirely. I'm looking at where that money is going to go. Because see, when the government spends $1, $5 trillion on anything, that money doesn't just disappear. It goes somewhere. It goes to companies, defense contractors. And those companies, their stocks, they're about to go on a ride that most investors aren't even thinking about yet. Now, I've been investing for over 70 years, and I've seen this movie before. Every time military spending goes up dramatically, certain companies benefit enormously. And the investors who position themselves early, who understand which companies are going to get those contracts, they make fortunes. Not small returns. Life-changing wealth. And that's what I want to talk about today. The 5 defense contractors that are positioned to turn ordinary investors into millionaires over the next few years. But before I get into the specific companies, let me explain why this is happening now and why this opportunity is so significant. The geopolitical landscape has changed dramatically in just the past few months. We've got Russia seizing tankers in the Atlantic. We've got Trump ordering over 620 airstrikes in less than a year. That's the same number Obama ordered in 8 years. We've got tensions with China over Taiwan. We've got Iran threatening retaliation. We've got conflicts in Syria, Yemen, Venezuela. The world is more unstable than it's been in decades. And when the world is unstable, governments spend money on defense. That's just how it works. That's how it's always worked. Now, Trump's proposed $1. $5 trillion budget isn't just a number he pulled out of thin air. He's calling it his dream military that he wants to rebuild American military dominance. He wants new aircraft carriers, new fighter jets, new missile systems, new cyber warfare capabilities, new everything. And see, here's what most people don't understand. Building military equipment takes time. It takes years, sometimes decades, which means the companies that get these contracts today, they're going to have revenue locked in for the next 10, 15, 20 years. That's recurring revenue. That's predictable cash flow. That's exactly what makes a great investment. I've always looked for companies with long-term, predictable revenue streams. Companies where I can see what they're going to earn 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And defense contractors with major government contracts, they fit that bill perfectly. The government signs a contract to build 100 new fighter jets. That's a 10-year project worth billions of dollars. And the company knows that money is coming. They can plan around it. They can hire workers. They can invest in facilities. They can return cash to shareholders. It's beautiful from an investment standpoint. Let me give you the first company on my list. And this one is going to be the biggest winner of all. Lockheed Martin. Now, I know what you're thinking. Warren, that's obvious. Everybody knows Lockheed Martin. And you're right. It is obvious. But see, obvious doesn't mean it's wrong. Sometimes the obvious choice is the obvious choice because it's the right choice. Lockheed Martin is the largest defense contractor in the world. They build the F-35 fighter jet, which is the most advanced fighter jet ever made. And countries all over the world want it. The United States wants more of them. Our allies want them. And every single F-35 costs about $80 million. Lockheed Martin has orders for over 3,000 of these jets. That's $240 billion in future revenue just from one product. But it's not just the F-35. Lockheed Martin builds missile defense systems. They build satellites. They build helicopters. They build hypersonic weapons. They got their hands in everything the military needs. And with Trump pushing for $1, $5 trillion in military spending, Lockheed Martin is going to get a massive piece of that pie. Now, here's what I love about this company from an investment perspective. They have a backlog of over $150 billion in orders. That means they already have $150 billion worth of work that they're going to do over the next several years. That's locked in revenue. And as Trump increases military spending, that backlog is going to grow. It could easily reach $200 billion, $250 billion, maybe more. The stock has already done well. It's up significantly over the past decade, but I think it's got a lot more room to run. Because see, when military spending increases by 50%, which is what we're looking at here, defense contractor revenues don't just increase by 10% or 20%. They can double or triple as new programs get funded, as existing programs get expanded, as maintenance contracts grow. So Lockheed Martin, that's number one on my list. If you're going to own one defense stock, make it this one. The second company I want to talk about is Northrop Grumman. Now, Northrop Grumman doesn't get as much attention as Lockheed Martin, but they're just as important, maybe more important in some ways. Northrop Grumman builds the B-21 Raider, which is the next generation stealth bomber. The Air Force wants at least 100 of these bombers. Each one costs about $700 million. That's $70 billion right there. But it's not just bombers. Northrop Grumman is the leader in cyber warfare and space defense. And see, this is where the future of warfare is going. It's not just about tanks and jets anymore. It's about satellites. It's about hacking. It's about defending our infrastructure from cyber attacks. And Northrop Grumman is at the forefront of all of that. Trump has talked repeatedly about the importance of space defense. He created the Space Force. And Northrop Grumman builds most of the satellites and systems that the Space Force uses. As military spending increases, a huge portion of that increase is going to go towards space and cyber capabilities. And that means Northrop Grumman is going to see explosive growth. What I like about Northrop Grumman is that they're diversified. They're not dependent on one product like some defense contractors. They've got bombers, they've got missiles, they've got cyber systems, they've got space systems, they've got drones. And all of those areas are growing. The military wants more of everything. So Northrop Grumman is positioned to benefit across the board. And RTX is the primary provider. The Patriot system isn't just a one-time sale either. Every time a missile is fired, it has to be replaced. And each missile costs over $1 million. So RTX has a recurring revenue stream from countries that use the Patriot system. It's like a subscription model, but for missiles. And with the world as unstable as it is, that subscription model is going to generate billions in revenue for decades. RTX also makes jet engines for military aircraft. They make radar systems. They make precision-guided weapons. And with Trump's $5 trillion budget, all of those product lines are going to see increased demand. What I really like about RTX is that they've been buying back shares aggressively. They're returning cash to shareholders. And as defense spending increases, they're going to generate even more cash, which means bigger buybacks, bigger dividends, higher stock prices. That's number 3. The fourth company is General Dynamics. Now, General Dynamics is a bit different from the others because they're heavily focused on submarines and ships. They build the Virginia-class submarines, which are the most advanced attack submarines in the world. Each submarine costs about $3 billion, and the Navy wants a lot more of them. The Navy's shipbuilding budget is going to increase dramatically under Trump's plan. He wants a 350-ship Navy. Right now, we have about 290 ships. So we need 60 more ships, and General Dynamics is going to build a big chunk of those. Submarines, destroyers, aircraft carriers, you name it. What's interesting about shipbuilding is that it's incredibly expensive and incredibly time-consuming. It takes 5 to 7 years to build a submarine. So when General Dynamics get a contract to build 10 submarines, that's 50 to 70 years worth of work spread across the fleet. That's guaranteed revenue for decades. And the margins on these projects are good. The government pays cost plus a percentage, which means General Dynamics makes money even if the project runs over budget. Now, General Dynamics also has a land systems division that builds tanks and armored vehicles. With conflict popping up all over the world, demand for armored vehicles is increasing. And they have a business jet division that's actually doing quite well as wealthy individuals and corporations buy private jets. So you're getting diversification within the company. But the real story here is shipbuilding. And with Trump pushing for a bigger Navy, General Dynamics is going to be a massive beneficiary. That's number 4. The 5th and final company on my list is Boeing. Now, I know Boeing has had problems. The 737 MAX issues, the quality control problems, the delays. I know all of that. But here's what I also know. Boeing's defense division is separate from the commercial side, and the defense division is rock solid. Boeing builds the F-18 Super Hornet, which is the Navy's primary fighter jet. They build the F-15EX, which the Air Force is buying. They build the Apache helicopter, which is used by armies around the world. They build the Chinook helicopter. They build aerial refueling tankers. They build everything the military needs to operate. And see, here's the thing about Boeing. Even with all their commercial problems, the defense side has been growing steadily. And with military spending increasing dramatically, that growth is going to accelerate. The Air Force wants more tankers. The Navy wants more F-18s. The Army wants more helicopters. And Boeing is the only company that can deliver at the scale the military needs. Plus, Boeing's stock price has been beaten down because of the commercial side issues, which means there's significant upside potential as investors realize that the defense division alone is worth more than the current market cap. It's a contrarian play. Everybody's negative on Boeing because of the commercial problems, but the defense business is thriving. And as military spending goes up, Boeing's defense revenue could grow by 30%, 40%, maybe 50% over the next few years. That would completely change the narrative on the stock. That's number 5. Now, let me talk about how to actually invest in these companies. Because knowing which companies to buy is only half the battle. You also need to know how to buy them and when to buy them. First, don't try to time the market perfectly. Don't sit around waiting for the perfect entry point because you'll miss it. These stocks are going to be volatile. They'll go up and down with news about military spending, geopolitical tensions, earnings reports, all of that. But the long-term trend is clear. Military spending is going up. These companies are going to benefit. So start buying now and add to your positions over time. Second, diversify across all 5. Don't put all your money into just one company. Spread it out. Maybe put 20% in each of these 5 companies. That way, if one underperforms for some reason, the others will make up for it. But chances are all 5 are going to do well because they're all positioned to benefit from the same trend. Third, think long-term. This isn't a trade. This isn't something you buy today and sell next month. This is a 3 to 5 year investment. You're betting that military spending is going to stay elevated for years, which it will, and that these companies are going to generate massive revenues and profits, which they will. So buy the stocks, hold them, and let the returns compound. Fourth, reinvest the dividends. All of these companies pay dividends. Lockheed Martin pays about 5%. Northrop Grumman pays about 2%. RTX pays about 2.3%. General Dynamics pays about 4%. Boeing's dividend is lower because of their commercial issues, but they'll likely increase it as things improve. So you're getting 2% to 5% dividends from these stocks, which is nice. But don't spend those dividends. Reinvest them. Buy more shares. Let those dividends compound. Over 5 years, that can add an extra 10% to 15% to your total returns. Fifth, keep an eye on contract announcements. When these companies announce new contracts, big ones, the stocks usually jump. So if you're looking to add to your positions, don't chase the stocks after a big contract announcement. Wait for a pullback. Wait for the stock to come back down a bit, and then add to your position. Be patient. Be disciplined. Now, let me address some concerns people might have. First concern, what if military spending doesn't increase as much as Trump says? What if Congress blocks it? Well, here's the thing. Even if Congress only approves half of what Trump wants, even if the budget only goes to $1, $2 trillion or $1.3 trillion instead of $1, $5 trillion, that's still a massive increase from where we are now. That's still enough to drive significant growth for these companies. So yes, there's political risk, but the trend is clear. Both parties support strong defense spending. Republicans want it for national security. Democrats want it for jobs in their districts. So the money is going to flow. Second concern, what if tensions ease? What if we make peace with Russia or China or Iran? Well, that would be great for the world. But even if tensions ease, it doesn't mean military spending goes back down. Once budgets increase, they tend to stay elevated. The military will find other things to spend money on. Modernization, maintenance, readiness, whatever. The money keeps flowing. And besides, do you really think tensions are going to ease anytime soon? Look at the world. We've got conflicts everywhere. This is going to be the reality for years, maybe decades. Third concern, valuations. Some of these stocks aren't cheap. Lockheed Martin trades at about 20 times earnings. Northrop Grumman is similar. Are they overvalued? Well, here's how I think about it. If a company is going to grow earnings by 15% to 20% per year over the next 5 years, then paying 20 times earnings today is actually quite reasonable. Because in 5 years, you'll have paid 10 times the earnings at that point. And if the multiple stays at 20, the stock will have doubled or tripled. So no, I don't think these stocks are overvalued. I think they're fairly valued given the growth ahead of them. Let me give you some numbers to think about. Let's say you invest $50,000 total across these 5 companies. That's $10,000 in each. If these stocks average 15% annual returns over the next 5 years, which I think is very achievable given the growth in military spending, your $50,000 becomes about $100,000. Double your money in 5 years. That's a great return. But here's the thing. I actually think 15% might be conservative. If military spending really ramps up, if these companies win major contracts, if tensions stay elevated, these stocks could return 20% or even 25% annually. At 20% annual returns, your $50,000 becomes $124,000 in 5 years. At 25%, it becomes $153,000. That's triple your money. And see, this is achievable. This isn't some crazy speculation. These are established companies with proven products and government contracts. The revenue is coming. The growth is real. You just have to position yourself to benefit from it. Now, I want to be clear about something. I'm not saying this is risk-free. No investment is risk-free. These stocks will be volatile. They'll go up and down. There will be times when you're down 10% or 15% on paper, and you'll question whether you made the right decision. But if you believe in the thesis, if you believe military spending is going up and these companies are going to benefit, then you hold through the volatility. You don't panic and sell. You trust the process. I've made a lot of money over the years by being patient, by holding good companies through the ups and downs, by not panicking when things get volatile. And that's what I'm encouraging you to do here. Buy these stocks. Hold them. Don't check the prices every day. Don't obsess over every news headline. Just let the thesis play out. Let military spending increase. Let these companies win contracts. Let the earnings grow. And watch your investment grow with it. One more thing I want to mention. This isn't just about making money. Although making money is great, and I hope you do. But investing in these companies also means you're investing in American security. You're investing in the companies that keep us safe, that give our military the tools they need to defend the country and our allies. And there's something meaningful about that, something worthwhile. So when you buy these stocks, you're not just betting on financial returns. You're supporting the defense industrial base. You're supporting American workers. You're supporting innovation and technology. That matters. All right, let me wrap this up. Trump's $1.5 trillion military budget is going to create enormous opportunities for investors who position themselves correctly. The 5 companies I've talked about today, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, RTX, General Dynamics, and Boeing, these are the companies that are going to benefit the most. They have the products the military needs. They have the contracts. They have the scale. And they're going to generate massive revenues and profits over the next several years. If you invest in these companies now and hold them for 3 to 5 years, I believe you'll make excellent returns. Returns that could change your financial situation. Returns that could set you up for early retirement or help you reach your financial goals years ahead of schedule. But you have to act. You can't just watch this video and nod and say that's interesting and then do nothing. You have to open a brokerage account. If you don't have one, you have to actually buy the stocks. You have to commit capital because opportunity doesn't wait. The military spending is ramping up now. The contracts are being awarded now. The stocks are moving now. And if you wait too long, you'll miss the early gains. You'll miss the best part of the ride. So do your own research. Look at these companies. Read their financial statements. Understand what they do, and then make a decision. Invest or don't. But make the decision based on analysis, not on fear or inaction. Thank you for watching today. I hope this gives you something to think about, something to act on. These opportunities don't come around often. When they do, you have to be ready to take advantage. And this is one of those times. Good luck out there. And remember, the best investments are the ones you make before everyone else realizes what's happening. That's when you make the real money.